Hello, welcome. My name is Rich. This is Champions Online, a superhero MMO based on the Champions pen and paper RPG. This is technical issues, an electricity-based superhero. So chosen because this series of streams was the first time I had ever streamed anything, and I knew when I was starting out that I would have some technical issues, and indeed I did have some, though they have thankfully not reared their heads once more. So, where are we, and what are we doing? Well, besides playing Champions Online, the reason that I'm playing is to absorb the stories that the game is trying to tell, and critique them, analyze them, enjoy them. And just generally take things easy, take it slow, no rushing. I know that when I'm not playing an MMO for the stream, tend to zoom through all of the content and not pay attention to the dialogue that's being said to me, the reasons why I'm doing things. We are on Monster Island, which is a bit like a combination between a Kaiju Island and the island of Dr. Moreau. So down here and across this area, really across almost all of the island are what's called manimals, which is human-animal hybrids or furries, although they're not. Almost none of them are willing furries. They have been altered by Dr. Moreau. That's an interesting lava flow there. They've been altered by Dr. Moreau into manimals. See, I would expect this to flow down this way, but I guess the creators didn't want any magma going into the wrong zones of the map. I mean, looking here, you can see this is one zone, this is another. This is a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and I think that this is a seventh. I mean, there hasn't been a huge amount of missions going across here, so the division might be this, but anyway. You'll notice there are a few missions available on various parts of the island. I've tried this one. I can't manage. I have not done this one, which is rhinoplasty, with this character, and indeed not since I have, I want to say, gotten better at the game. I wouldn't say that I'm good at the game particularly, just that I have gotten better over time, particularly in building characters and making correct choices with stats. I'm better now than I used to be, so this character should be able, more able than previous ones that I've created and played. Now that said, I still don't know how she will stack up against rhinoplasty or against with a Megaterak, which is a robot version of this island's Godzilla equivalent, the Teleios. So there's the Teleios, which is a gigantic lizard created by Teleios, and who is a... Hey, Liffy. Glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Yes, so I was talking about Teleios and to the Teleios. Teleios is a mad scientist, but he specializes in genetics. The Megaterak is a... So he created the Teleios, which is basically this universe's version of Godzilla, in that it's a giant reptile that breathes radiation attacks. The Megaterak is basically Mechagodzilla. There's also Quijibo, which is King Kong but on fire. And we also have Grond, which is this universe's version of the Abomination from Marvel, or the unthinking, destructive Hulk, who has Grond has 4 arms and tusks. Where do I want to go? I want to go here, actually. There might be a mission giver here. Currently, I'm not quite high enough level to take the missions from the 2 dudes who are hanging out here. Is that Quijibo? That's a very big ape with a crafting node on his arm. I'm not high enough level with my crafting. What level is my crafting? 49. Okay. Oops. They're high level. Okay, so it looks like there's a bunch of Viper around here. I'm not getting any quest giver exclamation marks popping up. That I've noticed. The area is just teeming with Viper, and we don't appear to have any missions. So what I think I'm going to do is head to the sub that will take me to Lemuria. Oh yes, travel powers. What travel power should I take? I mean, the obvious choice would be... Oops. Lightning teleport ability. Well, I say teleport. The game calls it teleport. I really think that it's more accurately and more appropriately phasing, because the movement is not instantaneous. You go out of phase, become untargetable, and then move whilst you're there. Hey, Digital Seahorse. Glad you're here too. So yes, I think we will... I was deliberating over travel powers, wasn't I? I suppose there is a powerhouse here, so I can... if you make a power choice whilst you're in the powerhouse, it's not permanent unless you leave the powerhouse, so I can choose, or I say permanent, You can remove any power that you've got as long as you spend money on it. So let's see. Lightning flash, travel power. Recolor it so that it matches. See, if I were not in the weird phase, I would be able to see that that was a ball of red lightning. So I'm not teleporting per se, I'm entering a different phase such that I can move around freely. I can sort of fly. Well, this is flight. And then once I have left that state, I have got low gravity for a little while. And whilst I'm in this state, I'm not targetable by anybody. Anybody that has targeted me before I transformed would still get the attacks off. So I can undo that for free because I chose the power whilst I was in the powerhouse, but everything else, all the other powers I've chosen and advantages, cost money or need full recon or retcon tokens used on the removal. There are a couple of cool flight powers like Millennial Flight and Power Flight, Heroic Flight, but particularly Millennial Flight is it's a little obnoxious, particularly if you put points into making it stronger, because it just fills the screen with this light effect. The faster you go, I'm at the maximum speed now, so the faster you go, the more of this you have. So I suppose if you're flying forwards and it's on blue, you do look a bit like you're flying through the warp or hyperspace, but I think it looks cool, but I don't really want it all the time. Let's see what the hoverboard's like actually. Is it going to be like the surfboard? Can I fly up? Slowly sink. Yeah. I don't know that Millennial Flight does come with avocado toast. If it does, it's not an animation that the game plays, which is unfortunate. I do have Shadow Wings and Phoenix Flight, both of which create wings on my back. There's Rainbow Flight, but again, like Millennial Flight, it creates a very large light effect. I've not tried Tornado Flight, actually. I don't know why thematically a lightning-powered character would have a tornado. Maybe if we're crossing over with storms, that would make sense. That looks kind of cool. No, the Millennium Falcon wouldn't have had avocado toast. If for no other reason, then I don't think that avocados exist in the galaxy far, far away and a long time ago. Swinging's fun. Let's show you swinging. The movement power, not the other kind. Mobility testing. Here we are. So you run around like normal, but your jump is very much improved, and you fire off a grappling hook. And there are various kinds that I don't have. Like a fire one and a darkness one. You don't, unfortunately, I think, ever get any kind of web slinging one, and I don't think that you can. Oh, maybe you can change the color of the power. So if you had like a flaming one, you could change it. Although there isn't really a color that matches up with webs, because you can't get white and black colors. It's just this. So you see this, you can just about see the streams of light that my character leaves behind are very light blue. Let's change that to red and see whether that... Oops. No, I thought maybe that... Maybe if I turn the power off. No, it's still blue. Oh, well, never mind then. Interesting thing about this is you count as still being in motion. Like you're a physical object and you are in motion when you're using this power, and you have momentum, unlike with the flight powers or the teleport power. So if a cutscene cuts you off whilst you're traveling with the grappling hook power, your character will still move in the cutscene, which, depending on how you use it, could land you in a bit of trouble. Like if you, for example, as I did, use it to swing yourself through a door into a room full of enemies, just as, or like when you pass the threshold of the door, a cutscene starts playing, and the character isn't able to do anything at all, but the enemies still behave normally, as though there isn't a cutscene happening. So I flung myself through a door, starting a cutscene, into a room full of enemies, and was unable to block or anything whilst the cutscene, the unskippable cutscene, was playing. I didn't make that mistake again. Mostly I did it because I was wondering whether the cutscene would cut my character's momentum. Spoilers, it didn't. So, while grappling hook is fun thematically if you're playing a Batman-style character, the standard would be athletics or something similar, because it's a combination of super speed and super jump, but you don't jump as far or as high as super jump, and you don't run as fast as super speed. But let's... so there's two different styles of running as well. So this is running with Naruto arms, and this is running with normal arms. Here we are, Naruto run. It doesn't give you super jumping, unfortunately. And in this game, you can't run up walls. Although in DCUO, DC Universe Online, you can, with super speed, run up walls and even on ceilings. And it does get very irritating if you're in an enclosed space and you're trying to use super speed and you run up a wall onto a ceiling, and then your direction, because when you're upside down using a travel power in DCUO, I don't know what's going on with the camera, because nothing is consistent about the camera movement when you're upside down in DCUO, but I'm sure that we'll find out when we get there. So I'm just going to take athletics. See, I'm not as fast, and I can't jump as high as super jumping, but I do get cool flippy spinny shit. What's interesting is when you block, your movement speed gets reduced by 1%. But if you've got travel athletics on, you'll still do the animations, just slower. It's not quite as bad as you can't jump either. It's not quite as bad as some of the block powers. So what will happen sometimes with, I don't remember which block power it is. It might be ordinary block, or it might be one of the other power blocks. If you have got athletics on and you hold down block and then you travel backwards, your upper half will remain in pose, holding the block, whilst your legs rotate around with the flip. Oh yeah, we're done. Okay. He's got a repeatable mission. Ooh, what's through here? The stern compartment. Oh, I can change my costume. Oh, and there's a powerhouse in here. Didn't know there was one of these through here. And these are crafting benches. Oh, I can't use that one because it's the wrong kind of crafting. There's a retailer of some kind. I wonder if I can go through these doors. No. So I'm not sure where to go. Canada? For a little while, I guess. Although I did notice something on my main character when I was playing with him. There's supposed to be... no, not him. Would it be this one? Crisis in Lemuria. So there's supposed to be a couple of crisis missions that I just haven't done because I didn't talk to him. There is big trouble on Monster Island. Teleios has teamed up with Viper, and Until is assembling a strike team to stop this deadly partnership. Ironclad is already on his way there, but we could use a few more heroes, especially ones of your caliber. There's a jet heading for Monster Island right now. Just let them know you're going, and you can leave as soon as they've finished up fueling. Okay, and I think I'll also take the Crisis in Lemuria mission. Something stirs in those bleak depths. We have received a distress call from the Aegir. It was on a diplomatic mission to Lemuria when it was brought down by some unknown force. There is a sub at the B-17 outpost in Monster Island heading for Lemuria right now. Let them know you're going, and you can leave as soon as Bureau 17 gives the launch order. Okay. So we'll do Monster Island Crisis. Huh. It requires a queue. That's interesting. I also did the Halloween event on my main yesterday or the day before, and unfortunately it's quite dull. The main Halloween event involves flying around at random, trying to find pedestrians who have a glowing coloured aura in one of, I think, 4 or 5 different colours. You talk to them, and if they say trick or treat and hand you a bag, they're fine. But if they turn into a monster, you need to defeat them because they're evil. And you get when you defeat 10 of them, you come back to the quest giver and you get some special Halloween event coins. There's also pumpkins around. You can't really see. Unfortunately, that when they spawn, the direction the pumpkin is facing is a bit random, so you can't really see the shape of that face. There's also, whenever there's a pumpkin, there's also a black cat that you can't target. And I think this also is an area where one of those, I don't know, maybe you have to have the mission before you can actually see them. One of those people who trick or treat. Now, I didn't know that Crisis on Monster Island and Crisis in Lemuria required that I queue for the mission. So, and I don't think anyone bothers with them because you don't actually have to do the crisis to gain access. You just have to wait. So I think I might actually leave that. Oh, hey, Raven Force. Does the Halloween event get more things going on as it goes through the weeks? Ah, okay. Yes, it does ramp up. I thought that I remembered there being Clifothic demons spawning in during the event, but then once I got to it this year and there weren't any, I thought, oh, maybe I was wrong. But fair enough. And zombies as well. Okay, that tracks. So, yes, I think I'm going to, because I can't do it solo, and I don't want to try and herd cats in getting enough people together to do something that they don't especially want to do necessarily. I think I'm just going to go to Canada and do some missions here until I'm of high enough level that I can continue with missions on Monster Island. Dry Gulch will take me to the desert to speak to Warden Rothschild, which is the start of a series of missions dealing with the stronghold breakout. Because of course, if you've got a prison in a game, there's going to be a breakout. So let's take that. And take 2 to Tangle. Oh right, I didn't read the mission. Are you familiar with Stronghold Prison? It's a supermax facility designed specifically to contain superpowered criminals. I received an urgent call from the assistant warden there, Rebecca Rothschild, while you were out in the field. There's been a problem with the prison, and apparently a few prisoners have escaped. I think it's more than a few. Rothschild specifically asked for your help. She said she will brief you fully when you arrive. You in the mood for some warmer weather? I mean, I will be eventually. But not just yet. Technical issues. I have received word of trouble on Monster Island. Fulani Okonkwo is facing a lot of trouble in the Feral Tangle region of the island. Would you be able to assist her? Sure. And dispatching dispatches. Or disrupting dispatches? Whichever one it is, it's a repeatable mission, and I can't be bothered. I've done it already. Thanks for coming so quickly. Technical issues. Canada is in some big trouble, and only a hero like you can help save us. That's a repeatable mission, and that takes me to Vibora Bay, which I suppose I'll accept, but not what I was hoping for. Good day, madame. I am sorely in need of your assistance. Spirit-made flesh of mysterious origin, the Constable is an efficient and overly polite member of the Star Force Canadian superhero team. He is able to talk to ghosts and single-minded in his devotion to protecting the common good. A ghost mountie, you say? Do you suppose that could possibly be a reference, an oblique reference to Due South? Is he? It's been fucking ages since I watched Due South, so I don't remember the name of the main character. But I know that he didn't have any facial hair, so this can't be him because he's got a moustache. Is this a reference to his father? Over the wall, over this wall? Or over this wall? I mean, there's 2 dudes, Robert Mackenzie and Douglas Mackenzie. Did the main character of Due South have a brother? Oh, he did. Okay. Okay, let's... So I haven't... I don't remember how much of Due South I watched. I know it wasn't all of it. Because it actually ran for quite a long time. Oh, Lieutenant Diefenbaker. Diefenbaker? Paul Gross played Constable Benton Fraser. And there was a Raymond Vecchio. Robert Bob Fraser. D. Fenn Baker. Is that the reference? I'm afraid I don't get it. I'm being awfully dense, I'm sorry. Celestar has a mission. The Lost Convoy. Oh, your high school was named after Diefenbaker before it was torn down. I don't know whether to say I'm sorry to hear that or not. I mean, my experiences with high school were not good. I don't know about yours. We've received word from a convoy of steelhead cadets that they've broken down out by Stroesson's Peak. From the last message we received, it sounds like they may have some trouble. Head east to Stroesson's Peak. They're travelling on the main road that runs north and south through the area. Look for steelhead cadet Leonard Lawrence. He's the highest ranking cadet. You might notice a slight family resemblance if you look carefully. Okay. Oh, okay. Canadian Prime Minister Diefenbaker. I only know a few of my own country's leaders going back. I know as far back as Thatcher, and before that I couldn't tell you. So, other countries' leaders, I've got no hope of knowing. Sadly, I am all that remains of the mighty Canadians, the super team I used to lead. My teammates were lost during a battle against Kigatilic. Now Kigatilic's evil demon god ally, Tillinkut, is on the move. We need to stop Tillinkut, and the best way is to strike down his army. Are you up to the task, brave technical issues? Yes. Sometimes I am shocked at how dangerously stupid Viper agents can be. We just got word they are kidnapping demons in Lynx's Fold for experimentation at their Project Awakening facility. Yeah, that's not going to go well, is it? At this point, the demonic infestation is contained within the neighborhood, but if Viper brings back demons to a populated area and the creatures get loose, there will be untold casualties. Stop Viper, but be careful around those demon cages. If you release any demons, they are just going to attack you. And why would you want that? I don't know, they drop XP. Oh hey, Miserable Garbage. That's a fun name. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Oh yes, the game is full of pun names. I don't always get them. But I've pointed out the ones that I did get. Like the Rowdy Roddy Piper reference in Millennium City. That was part of a mission chain that referenced They Live. You can't talk with demons. You can't reason with demons. All you can really do is take them on, soundly defeat them, and hope you can convince them to head back to the nether realm that spawned them. Lynx's Fold has become a problem, technical issues. It's becoming overrun with demons, but if you defeat them and take away their Kigatilic fetishes, you sever their link with a considerable source of arcane power. Big City Visitor, talk to Jury Rig, which I don't think leads anywhere, except, well, I mean, when I took this mission and went to talk to him with my main, who was max level, nothing happened when I spoke to Jury Rig. But maybe it'll be different this time? Dr. Silverback contacted me while you were out in the field. A new supernatural threat has appeared in Millennium City, and he has asked for your assistance when your work here in Canada permits. Canada, yeah. Nice. That's the name of the place. There is a new inventor in Millennium City called Jury Rig. Dr. Silverback believes Jury Rig has information that could be useful in investigating this new threat. Silverback would like you to speak to him. Jury Rig can be found in the science area of Renaissance Center near Dr. Silverback. Okie dokie. Oh, cool. I'm glad to hear that things got easier as you left middle school or junior high for Maine High School. Digital Seahorse. The mock business you got to try in grade 11 sounds fun. What did I do in year 11? I did 1 year of sixth form. Well, half a year really. Hated it. Was no good at it. Failed all of my mock exams after Christmas and left. And then the following year, I started doing a 2-year media course, which was fun. I got to handle cameras and I tried a bit of animation, which I was dreadful at because it was... Oh, wow. Look at that. So those are giant monster arms that are available as a costume piece during this Halloween event. And unfortunately, it does look like they don't move. Find the photographer. We warn civilians to avoid Chiatanka Bluff, but some people won't listen. A nature photographer, George Hendrickson, went there to get a snapshot of a Bigfoot, but the Chiataka tribe nabbed him and brought him to their chief, a savage brute known as Slashpaw. It is imperative you rescue this unfortunate photographer before Chief Slashpaw gets hungry. Diseases of the foot. Yes, very funny. Oh yeah, I didn't do flash animation or 3D. It was just hand-drawn 24-frame animation that I did not have the patience for. There is a disease spreading among the Chiataka Bigfoots, a hemorrhaging filovirus that causes brain fever, madness, and death. We must do what we can to stop the spread of this disease. Perhaps this is part of the reason this tribe has been so aggressive. Please, technical issues. Take this hemorrhagic nostrum and use it on infected Bigfoots to treat them. The Bigfoots infected with the virus can be found running wild through the Chiataka lands to the north near Chiatanka Bluff, but I fear you may have to get rough with them before they will submit to the inoculation procedure, which means beat them up. Yes, theatre. Dropped out after 1 year of A-levels. A-levels aren't great. They're not for everyone. Oh, frame-by-frame animation. Hand-drawn. The people that can do it, massive respect. Because I have only an inkling of how difficult it is, and I know that I can't. Technical issues. I have a frightfully important task, and I fear only a hero of your caliber is up to the task. No, that's not good English. We've just received word that a steelhead helicopter went down somewhere in northern Chiatanka Bluff. We need you to locate this crash site so Steelhead Division can get out there. Normally, we'd send out a Leaf rescue team, but they've got their hands full with dealing with the Oceanica crash. It's funny how life can go in all sorts of strange directions. Yeah, it is basically draw the same... Well, no, it's not the same thing 300 times. It's very slightly different each time to imply movement. Rebel Quell is a repeatable mission, which I can't be bothered doing because I've done it already. Yeah, and like, yeah, flickbook style animation, it's 24 frames per second. An hour-long flickbook. Yeah, an hour long would be... Jesus, I don't know. $60 minutes. 60 seconds. 24 frames a second. I shall use the power of technology to calculate this for me. An hour of 24 frames per second is, assuming I've done the maths correctly, which I might not have done, 86,400 frames. Oh yeah, I get overwhelmed with indecision and possibilities as well. I think a lot of artists suffer the same problem with when you've got a blank page and you could do anything, so you can't pick what to do. The eyes of the raven are everywhere, my friend. While my physical presence is required here at Force Station Steelhead, much of my focus has been on the spiritual disruption in the area to the northeast known as the Burial Butte. I have been conferring with my Bigfoot allies in the Chieta tribe village in Chiatanka Bluff. Venture north to that village, and my astral form will meet you there with more vital tasks. Essence of Apikuni. Our legends speak of a great hero known as Apikuni, who tricked and trapped the great demon of the lost, Tilinkut. The story says that when Tilinkut finally escaped, he exacted a terrible revenge on Apikuni, killing him and spreading his ashes across the land. Today, strange crystals grow where the ashes fell. Collect Apikuni's mystic essence from those crystals, and I will harness the brave warrior's spirit for the fight that lays before us. Okay. Oh, and I've still got a mission down here as well, haven't I? There's Lieutenant Diefenbaker. So we've got missions all over the place now. I'm going to come down here and do these because there's not that many of them, I don't think. Yeah, if you're struggling with what it is that you want to make, I mean, I don't want to tell you how to suck eggs, because I assume you... Oop, hello. What was that about? Why did my power turn off there? Ah, Blood Moon Battleground. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, I mean, if you're not sure what to do, what to fill your book with, talk to the hippie, help the hippies. Hey bro, thanks for the help. We came here to protest these fascist Argent dudes totally wrecking our bus, and we came here to protest, and these fascist Argent dudes... Oh, come on. Totally wrecked our bus and held us prisoner. Can you help out my buddies as well? Yeah, use idea generators or something like the lists of ideas that people use during Inktober or stuff like that. Or I don't know if you still have any of your coursework from when you were in college or high school, but you could maybe look back at the projects that you were given and see if you want to have a go at them again, or redo one that you've already done, but better this time because you know more and you have more ideas. You know Viper is in here when you walk in because one of the goons is clearly wearing too much venom, Viper's own brand of cologne. You'd recognize that pungent smell anywhere. It burns a little. It looks like it's time to clear out the vermin. Okay, one way forward. We're probably way over leveled for this now as well, aren't we? Yeah. He's level 26. I'm 9 levels ahead of him. Yeah, it's not just knowing what to do, it's also, I mean, I struggle with getting on with it when I'm actually sat in front of a screen or a book or a page or whatever. So, oh, hello. What were you doing over there? It's weird how the game... Oh, that's interesting. I was going to say, first of all, it's weird how the game splits up groups of mobs sometimes. So there was a group of 3 there and 1 dude over here for no reason. When it should have been would have been a group of 4. But this is interesting as well, where they've got a shipping container and a shelf, or a stack of shelves. Just casually clipping through one another. No big deal. Yeah, I sometimes wonder whether having some kind of creativity coach would be helpful. Someone who would figure out what the best way to motivate you is. And oh, come on. Oh, they had a shield up, that's why I couldn't damage them. Some kind of creativity coach who figures out the best way to motivate you to do a creative thing and like checks in with you or sits with you whilst you're working. Maybe is someone that you can bounce ideas off of, or who would help guide you through your decision-making process. I mean, I think I could probably do it for other people, it's just I can't do it for myself. The smell didn't get any better, but at least the Viper goons won't be out in public anymore. Now it's time to take a shower and get that odor off you. Oh dear. Oh hey, I was high enough level to be able to open that crafting node. I supposed to talk to them so that they go away? Oh, by all means, go ahead and link getting started. How many more hippies am I supposed to rescue? Looks like I'm done because there aren't any mission indicators here. Okay, let's go talk to Diefenbaker. Thanks, Digital Seahorse. I will check that out at another time when I'm not actively engaged in saving the world as a superhero. I hate to see these Argent creeps getting away with spoiling this pristine wilderness. They try to pretend they are a legitimate business. So I just want to adjust the position of this slightly because it was bothering me. But we all know they're a bunch of crooks, swindlers, and ruthless cutthroats. Let's see what we can do about shutting them down, eh? Good to have you on our side, hero. Help the hippies completed. I hate to think what would have happened to those protesters if you hadn't helped them. Sure, those dirty hippies smell bad, but they are people too, darn it. Our CMP Steelhead Division Lieutenant assigned to keeping tabs on illegal activities of Argent. I probably wanted to be the illegal activities of Argent, but okay. Make it fast, make it Argent. We really ought to have a handle on the crooked industrialists in Argent by now, but there are simply too many of them roaming around under their snow thrush preserve. If you could thin their ranks a bit, that might give us the advantage we need to finally put those creeps out of commission. Defeat 150 Argent. I mean, sure, but I don't know that I'm going to be bothering with 150 of them. I might have to spend a bit of time afterwards. Yes, Diolch is Welsh for thank you. Niffy is learning Welsh. Argent corporate headquarters won't give us a straight story about their Canadian operation, so we might have to knock a few heads together to learn the truth. You're up for that job, aren't you, Technical Issues? Head southwest to the Argent Snow Thrush Sanctuary and get a hold of the Argent briefings. Argent has a new robot design, Mech Enforcers, and have sent them out to guard their illegal oil pipeline. You bust up a few of them, and that will discourage them from getting any ideas about mass producing them. Head toward the pipeline north of the refinery. These guys, they're part of a mission. This is an object that I will interact with later. I'm not quite sure why I don't have the mission now to do the thing. It's kind of annoying that I don't. Oh well. And I have to do this the slow way. Usually I prefer efficiency with doing missions, quests, where you get a whole bunch in the same region at the same time, so that taking out dudes might drop several different missions worth of mission object. But I suppose this way it'll help with the defeat 150 dudes mission, because otherwise that'd be a bit excessive. Hey, it's a crafting node. Will I be high enough level? I will be. Splendid. Oh, another crafting node. Cool. So it turns out, I said previously that I didn't think that the shields were available as, or at least available to players as costume options, but they are. You just have to buy them from a special vendor, and they're not available straight off the bat. I still haven't seen the head option anywhere though, so that might be exclusive to villains only. Cool. That's all of them. What has Diefenbaker to say? This is very interesting stuff. Let me look through it. I may be able to find a connection. Well done. With fewer of those blasted mech enforcer robots about, I'll have a chance to inspect that pipeline. No assembly required. We can take out Argent's rank-and-file soldiers pretty easily, but the mech enforcer robots are considerably tougher, and there is more of them every day. I just got intel Argent is building those mechanical monsters to the north. Let's put a stop to these rampaging robots before they are assembled. Enter the abandoned mine in the northern portion of the Argent Snow Thrush Sanctuary and destroy the mech enforcer parts stockpiled there. Doug's dossier. The Argent soldiers have been getting their orders from their foreman, Doug Reeves, who's currently off-site supervising a dig operation to the south of their facility. Reeves must be the key to this entire operation. Argent makes obscene profits, and they'll do just about anything to continue to rake in the cash, including break the law. That oil pipeline is illegal, and we need to shut it down before it does any more damage to the local ecology. If they've got obscene amounts of money, why do they not lobby to make the things that they do legal? I mean, that's basically what happened in this universe. Use computer terminals located around Argent pipeline, around the Argent pipeline, surely, to collect the 5 pipeline shutdown codes. Okay, this is the mission that takes you all around. There we go. I mean, it's not really a computer terminal, is it? But, okay. Suggesting the capitalists are the villains all along? Why, yes. I mean, if they've got obscene amounts of money, why not make it so that superheroes are the ones breaking the law to stop them? Oh yes, absolutely. Unjust laws should be broken. Where were the other terminals? Don't remember. Ah, there's one. What is this guy doing? Did he manage to walk off the platform on his patrol? Yep. I wonder how often he dies due to falling damage. Let's hurry him along, shall we? What was that? Oh, that was another person. Another member of his mob. Okay. And is there a third one, do you reckon? Oh well. He's another one that's fallen off. They haven't quite got the pathing for the patrol route correct, have they? Where did he come from? Is he inside this orb? Oh well. Oh, that was all of them. Jolly good. So, number 5. Defeat Doug Reeves. That's him. That should be easy enough. There we go. And then let's go up here and destroy the robot production line inside the abandoned mine. That looks extremely dangerous. Why did Argent have a massive missile? Is that a cruise missile, I suppose? I can't recognise different types of missile by sight. And that also, of course, assumes that when they created the missile for the game, they were modelling it accurately on an existing missile. So maybe it's scaled up. Maybe it's a combination of several different types of missile. Who knows? So the first time I did this, I had absolutely no idea how I was supposed to actually complete the mission objectives. It turns out these are the robot parts we're supposed to destroy. And these I don't know why robot parts are exploding with quite so much vigor. I mean, okay, I could understand if the robot part contained a power cell, but like, you would think with the construction of a robot, you would centralize the power to probably the torso and not have power modules like in the extremities. And these robots don't explode, they just fall over. Is there something about the unassembled parts that are more unstable? Those ball lightning dudes are eager beavers, aren't they? So here are some torsos. That's annoying. They're not close enough together for the oh, boom. They're not close enough together for the lightning storm to count them as together as targets. These ones are they perhaps a different type of object? Because they're small enough. The arms, legs and heads could be taken out with an AoE, but the torsos have to be done separately. But the non-targeting AoE damage dealers, the ball lightning things, take them out just fine. Oh, but these were close enough together. You know what, I'm not going to bother trying to work out what the difference is. Why some of them work a certain way and the others don't. I'm just gonna get on with it. Also, these are clearly not the same type of head that the actual mech enforcers have for their heads. I think that was a stack of barrels full of probably oil. Oh no, biohazard waste. Fantastic. Just exploded a bunch of barrels full of biohazard waste in my own face. That was clever, wasn't it? Yeah, so you can see these look kind of goofy. They're actually a bit more like helmets because there's seems to be a bunch of space inside them. But they've got this big open jaw. They're quite humanoid looking. But the actual mech enforcers have heads that look much more like, well, like Wally's, really. Like, this is not the same head. Oops. It's more oblong, there's no jaw. Also, where are those big ass shields? They seem to be an integral part of the robot design, and yet they don't appear to be anywhere here. I probably already completed the requirements for the mission. I'm just doing this for the sake of it. Asked me to destroy all the robot parts, and so that's what I'm doing. Why does it need a conveyor belt? Where does the conveyor belt go? What's it hooked up to? Oh, have they spawned back in again? Awkward. I'll destroy all of them if they spawn back in again. Alright, never mind. I've done the requirements of the mission. It'll have to do. Thanks for giving me some fucking warning about where the PvP zone is. Fantastic work, technical issues. There won't be so many of those tin-plated terrors to get in our way after this. Give me a minute while I decrypt the security on these codes, then it will be time to shut down the pipeline. These documents should tell us a lot about their operation and what they're really digging for at that site. What's a crim, anyway? Your guess is as good as mine. The codes are ready. Now all you have to do is input them at the 5 flow control junctions along the pipeline, and it should shut off the illegal oil flow. Actually, let's look up Crim on the Champions Wiki. Crowns of Crim. Ah, yes, that's probably bad news. A demon god who forged the mystical crowns worn by the Crowns of Crim. Refresh the page. Crowns of Crim. A team of demonic supervillains led by a dark seraph. Each member wears a mystic crown forged eons ago by the demon god Crim. Dark Seraph, Bloodstone, Eclipse, Phoenix, Temblor, and Force. I've not fought them before, I don't think. What does Dark Seraph look like? No. The wiki doesn't have any pictures, or at least the app version of the wiki doesn't. So I don't know what they look like. Are they, okay, so they actually are in the game. Tekophanes has the dragon crown. So Tekophanes is the lich-looking dude in the current loading screen splash with all the heroes. And Eclipse has a lair in Canada. I don't think that I've encountered them, but then I haven't done all of the missions in the game before. That's kind of the purpose of this stream, to get through as many of the missions as I can. Well, solo at least. So we probably will, hopefully, encounter Crim and Eclipse. I know that the game, Cryptic, when they were coming up with the game, kind of rolled the demonic and the cliffothic together. Presumably so that it was all simplified. Although having said that, apparently they also created the Irradiates and the Grondlings for the game. Originally in the RPG it was just Grond. There weren't Grondlings. So I wonder whether Crim and the Crowns of Crim and the dudes who wear them were separate originally from the Kings of Edom and anything to do with them. They probably are related, or at least tangentially related in the game, because all of those things are related in the game, broadly speaking. With the oil flow cut off, Argent's operations will be in disarray. They're not done for yet, so we must keep up the pressure. Question out authority. It turns out Reeves isn't in charge at all. Argent is digging around for buried questionite ore, and the overseer is a super mercenary, surely, named Mech Assassin. He's supplying Argent with their Mech Enforcer robot designs in exchange for questionite ore, so we need to cut off his supply. Mech Assassin hasn't been seen on the grounds of the sanctuary, so he must be holed up inside the refinery. I've noticed a lot of activity on the eastern side of the building, so there may be an open entrance there. Be warned though, Mech Assassin is going to need more than one superhero to beat, so you'll want to bring a friend or two. Doubtful. I mean, quite apart from the fact that I'm over-leveled for it, the requires team 1 to 5. Difficulty tends to vary. Sometimes it's difficult. So this is Tekophanes, who comes along every year and causes the blood moon, and never seems to get the message that no one likes him and he can't do it. Like, every year he gets defeated, and every year he comes back. A real-life hero. Labour dispute. These Argent bullies have us down here working against our will. I have a good mind to write the Labour Board. Several of my colleagues are being held in this facility. Can you save them as well? Yes. Like... so what I was saying was... Takafanes never gets the hint that no one likes him. He's smelly. Not nice to look at. Could do with a bit of exfoliation. And a new wardrobe. But before that, I was saying that difficulty of missions that are labelled requires team members 1 to 5 tends to vary. I don't know whether I'd be able to manage this solo if I was the correct level. But we don't need to worry about it, thankfully, because I'm not the correct level. I don't know what these guys are doing here. Push-ups at the end of the corridor. That seems like a good place. Let's start working out whilst we're on shift. There he is, Mech Assassin. Mercenary supervillain armed with advanced body armor and an electric pistol, a shield, and other weapons. I'm never particularly worried as an electric superhero coming up against villains in power armor. It just doesn't seem... that dangerous. Oh right, okay, so they're all together. That's the orbital strike. Oh, is it? No, it isn't. I don't think it is. Been a while since I've seen the both of them, but there's an orbital strike power and a carpet bomb power, and they kind of look similar. Because they both have like a big target reticle that appears underneath. Is there a way out? But I think that the orbital strike power kind of has like a lock-on effect involved. I can't really... Maybe the next time I choose a power, provided I remember, I'll I've got one power choice left, I think. I'll try and remember to choose carpet bombing and show what that looks like, and orbital strike, or orbital bombardment, what's it called? It's not that, it must be gadgeteering. Orbital cannon and strafing run. So, orbital cannon. You would think that orbital cannon does the most damage in the game of any attack, but unfortunately it doesn't quite. Force Cascade does. 3,237. 3,477. Now I know what the numbers here say, but they are lying. And Strafing Run does a similar thing. No, Orbital Cannon is a satellite weapon that fires from orbit. Or perhaps it might be the death laser of Doom that is available on the moon base hideout. Ah, the Argent goes too far. Good job, hero. Hey. Mech Assassin's defeat has routed Argent's operations up here. They aren't shut down yet, but it's only a matter of time. Good work. Turn to Justiciar. Now that Mech Assassin's down and I have the evidence I need, you should go back and talk to Justiciar and tell him what happened. Okie dokie. Yeah, so if I go to the moon base and open the blast shield, one of the outside details, giant laser of death, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark 1. Yeah, it's not that useful. It's not as useful as you might think, because yes, you can only fire on places that the moon is facing. Oh, I can't even get on top of it. Okay, so I can... No, it's completely hollow. Can I land on any part? Yes. Sort of. So yes, it will only fire on parts of the Earth that are visible from the moon. So, I mean, unless you set up like a satellite relay system that it bounces off of, not actually as useful as you might think. Also, yes, as I've outlined before, there are other sections to each of the hideouts that Cryptic never finished. I think this was supposed to be a retraining area, and the other one was probably yeah, astronaut buddy. None of these are actually available as character costume options. They're just he's just the lone astronaut model in the game. A solid piece. So Cryptic were working on expanding the hideouts, and in fact, in one of the missions that you do with Lady Hawk, you actually come to the moon, a moon base that is basically this layout, just with different interior decoration stuff, and you go to each of the domes during that mission. So they are accessible. It's just that the doors don't open. Like you can see through into the corridor. You just can't go through. And like, quite why they don't I mean, they obviously haven't added the functionality that would go with each of the rooms, but why they can't just have them open and let you wander in, I don't know. The Unknowable One mission. Yeah, I didn't remember the name of it, but yeah, I did it recently with my main because I was going through the mission, just getting an idea of how long it would take. So I think you have to do it on different days, don't you? The sequence of missions from Lady Hawk or Lady Nighthawk. Yeah, I thought so. So if I was to do them, I'd need to do them on separate streams. I actually want the landing strip outside. There we go. Yeah, so I was annoyed as well that coming to the moon during that mission, Unknowable One, the parts of the moon base were accessible. Yeah, you can still do all of the missions after you've completed them. They're repeatable. You just don't get the same reward. Oh, I can't mount up on that because this is the region in which the event takes place. Okay, fair enough. Maybe I should do them off stream with this character so I can do them all back to back. On stream. That makes sense. So one of the other things that happens during the blood moon is... Oh, I want to be going this way, don't I? There's a PvP event where you can either become... you get transformed into either a werewolf or a werewolf hunter. And I've also done that on my main and kind of irritated by the powers that you get when you're transformed, particularly on the werewolf. Like, what I would really like is if they weren't fixed on your power bar. Like, if you could move the powers around so that I could use my gaming mouse with extra buttons. Oops. As you see here. I use the buttons on the side of my mouse quite often. All of the powers along here are linked to the buttons on my mouse for convenience sake. And if I could move the powers around on the hotbars, that would make things considerably easier, I feel. Because, like, trying to reach buttons 5 and 6 and 7 on the keyboard whilst also being able to move around, like maintain mobility, is... I mean, I find it a challenge. I don't know about other people, but... Mech Assassin is down. This is excellent news. Thank you, hero. But other than that, like... the way that the two transformed power sets work, there's no like toggle that lets you get stacks of something and gain energy every time you get a stack. There's no slotted passive that helps with damage reduction or damage increasing. It's just a set of a few powers. Oh, does it? I don't know that I'd noticed that, but I had noticed that it wouldn't let me move any of the powers that I was trying to use. I guess that's just an issue with Become devices. Not that I've used that many of them. So diverting dispatches is a repeatable mission, and I'm not going to do it again. You've been doing a great job helping out around here. Technical issues. I would say you should take a break, but I just got word that there are problems with Hunter Patriots in Hoarfrost Hills. Head south and look for Officer James Candy, just northeast of the main road. James Candy, is that the name? Oh, John Candy is the name of a Canadian comedy actor who unfortunately is no longer with us. I wonder whether James Candy is a reference to him. Is that mission there? We've got an awful lot of missions around. Let's come and do this one. Thank goodness you're here. Never mind the convoy, the real problem is Teleios. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I used to, in my head, pronounce it Teleios, but that isn't correct based on the spelling. I think it's Teleios. Except, if I wanted it pronounced Teleios, that's not how I'd spell it. Thank goodness you found me. I've been out here for hours now, and my MP3 player has almost lost its charge. That's dating the game a bit, isn't it? We don't use MP3 players anymore, we just have smartphones. Steelhead Cadet third cousin once removed to Lonnie Lawrence, the superhero known as Celestar. A bit of a screw-up, but fortunately for Leonard, his superhero cousin pulled some strings. That's probably not that helpful in the grand scheme of things. Like, you want people who are capable in positions like this, not people who are kept in place by nepotism. Yeah, so this game is from 2009. If the joke about having run out of songs to listen to on his MP3 player is anything to go by, he can't have that big of a storage capacity on the device. So it must have been a fairly cheap old version of an MP3 player that he had. Did he say I nearly ran out of charge? Oh yes, he did. I was completely not paying attention. I just read the words. Didn't listen to my own voice. Well, I suppose, in fairness, batteries do last less time in the cold. Something to do with the way that they maintain charge and temperature. Batteries last less time when they're cold, so if he's got his MP3 player out listening to songs on it, it's not really a surprise that the charge is almost gone. Maybe it would last longer if it were kept warm, or if he were in somewhere in a location that's warmer. I received a report from a terrified young man who'd been out hiking with some friends. It seems they were attacked by some Teleios clones. He managed to run away, but his friends were taken. The man said the clones were talking about needing some fresh genetic material. I shudder to think what that means for those people. Could I ask you to please go check out the place the escapee saw his friends dragged into? It'd really help me out, and I'd love to be able to get those people home safe. Now, Teleios suffers from the same problem that the Borg do, in that he claims to work towards... Oh, does it? I didn't realise that the cold affected charge reading meters as well. So, Teleios, he says that he strives for genetic perfection, and he also claims that all of his creations are genetically perfect, and yet he also continually updates them with new versions and comes out with new ideas, like new creations. And he likes to take genetic material from his opponents and from people who he finds wandering around, to bolster his own genetic library, which is why I say that he is similar to the Borg, in that the Borg claim to be perfect, but they also say whenever they meet a new species that they will add their uniqueness to their own. Is it uniqueness? Or is it... you will add your... No, I don't remember. Oh, that's weird. So, I think that's probably just the battery running out more quickly than... Or, yeah, I don't know if it's running out, but it stops it being able to transfer the charge. So maybe the charge is still in there, and therefore the device that's reading it is still saying X amount % left, like 20% in your case, but the temperature means that the battery itself just can't cause the energy to flow. Krasak Obov noise. Crossovak Obov noise. Hello, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I apologize for your mispronouncing your name. I needed a couple of tries, and I probably wasn't quite right even when I was done. But welcome along. I'm glad you're here. We're just talking about the cold affecting battery charge, because this guy, Cadet Lawrence, is complaining about his MP3 player running out of battery charge, or almost being out of charge. Sergeant Cronin, I think. My superior officer took some steelhead scouts out on a recon mission to scope out strange activity around the tower, and he hasn't returned. I'm getting worried, but Cronin gave explicit orders I was to stay with the convoy. Do you think you could make sure he's not in any danger? Technical issues? Oh yes, I was also going to say, Teleios does a thing. Well, I thought that Krosovak sounded Russian, but I didn't want to assume. It sounded East European. That sort of language group. Right, so Teleios also does a thing where he creates, what are they called? Teleoscenes? He basically has created like a sort of genetic reprogramming organ that his clones will go out and put on Teleios site. There we go. Will go out and put on just poor random passerbys that transforms them and contains a certain amount of genetic knowledge, I think. So, like, it's grown across his back and around his waist and even out of his mouth. Oh no, that's into his mouth, isn't it? I'm sure that's someone's fetish, but it's pretty horrible. Oh, we're actually supposed to find someone who's just up here. Here we go. Here's Cronion. I can't tell you how glad I am to see you. Steelhead resources are stretched to the limit, and now Teleios' genetic monstrosities are on the loose. Thank you so much. I never thought we were going to last this long. Steelhead Sergeant assigned to keeping an eye on Teleios' grotesque genetic experiments. So, for being a game based on Silver Age comics that have a kind of jokey, particularly almost a Adam West Batman feel, there are elements to the game, like the Teleios sites, that are kind of horrifying. Spirits in a material world. Tourism is a big business here in the Great White North. Part of my job is to keep this place safe for our out-of-town guests, and it looks like I have a problem that's beyond me. Now, I'm no expert on the tourist industry, particularly not for Canada, but I would not have thought that the Great White Canadian North, as in the frozen tundra north of Canada, was a huge tourist attraction. Like, sure, there'll be an amount. Particularly, he says, the caves near here are popular with hikers and spelunkers, but I just received word one cave complex is overrun with evil spirits that have popped up out of nowhere. And I guess that there's some nice scenery if you're into this sort of thing, but the number of people who want to go somewhere with lots of snow all the time cannot be a large percentage of people traveling for tourism. Get down into those caves and show those undead abominations they're not welcome in Canada. You can tell them I said so. I'm sure that'll make all the difference. Oh, hey, Mimo. Good to see you along. Yeah, I suppose this might be a nice place to see the Northern Lights, although if this is supposed to be a location where you can see them from, they never appear in the sky here. And I don't imagine that you'd get repeat visitors looking at the Northern Lights. I mean, it's probably like a once-in-a-lifetime thing for most people. Multiplicity. We're getting word that Teleios' Legion of Clones are making serious advances with their Perfect Man DNA compositing programs, so it's time to go on the attack. In the name of justice, of course. We don't need a sophisticated plan of attack. Just go there and knock enough heads around and recover as much Teleios DNA samples as you can get your hands on. Collect 20 pieces. So this is a repeatable mission as well. And I'll have to try not to keep taking it. When the convoy broke down, I took my team ahead to scout the area. We were attacked by Teleios' creatures, and I lost contact with several of them. I'm worried about those men. Teleios' tower. I think I've done this one. I've done all of these on my main, but I think I've done this one, and it takes a long time because you go up through like 3 or 4 floors of Teleios' big-ass tower there, up to the top, and fight a gigantic super brain with Teleios himself watching on from a force field protected balcony. Teleios is bargaining for alien DNA to aid in his creation of the perfect clone in order to take over the world. He is working out of his tower atop a peak in the center of the Canadian wilderness. His tower is operated by the Ultimate Mind, a clone of Teleios' brain. Shut down his operation by any means necessary. So I will be doing that, just not this stream, and probably not until I've gotten to max level and have decent equipment. Like, I've got heirloom equipment that boosts XP gain, but that's not really end game equipment. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that some people seem to enjoy when they're in the snow that just does not sound like fun to me. Like getting your eyelashes stuck together with frost. That just sounds like a bad time. Quite curious, now that I'm actually thinking about it, quite curious about how exactly the Teleoraptors, or Pteroraptors, Teleio clone, are functioning out here in the frigid Canadian North. Like, you would think, I mean, just because they look like Utahraptors does not mean that they are cold-blooded reptiles, I suppose. That's fair and true. And also, these do have a bunch of technology stuff on them, so maybe they've got like built-in heaters to help deal with the weather. But if we take things at face value, which I will admit maybe we shouldn't, but if we take things at face value, how is it that these Utahraptor looking, presumably cold-blooded reptile Teleoraptors or Teleosaurs are functioning here in all of this snow? Actually, now that I think about it, a dinosaur covered in electronic stuff. These are somewhat like the dinosaurs from the Street Shark spin-off show. What the heck was their name? Yes, Street Sharks did well enough to have a spin-off featuring dinosaurs. It wasn't very good. I don't think that those particular type of Teleosaurs had nuclear breath. Some of them do. I think it's just the ones on Monster Island, because I don't remember seeing any of the ones in Canada with nuclear breath. What was the name of... the spin-off tie-ins. The Dino Vengers. That's 2 words. Dino Venger. Oh, Extreme Dinosaurs. Okay. That's not a very inspiring name. I mean, Street Sharks isn't a clever name, but it has a sort of dynamism to it. Extreme Dinosaurs just sounds a little bit pathetic. Yeah, I don't remember much of the story of Dino Vengers, of the Dino Vengers on Extreme Dinosaurs, but I don't know what they would have been avenging. I don't think there was much. I know that there was one episode where there was a bit of a story arc with the Stegosaurus one, or the Triceratops one, who kept smelling his mother and followed the scent to a museum that was displaying the skeleton of a stegosaur, or whichever it was, whatever type of species he was. Which had so many things wrong with it, just to start with, like, but it seemed to imply that Earth was where the Dino Vengers were from, and they had, where the heck is the door I'm looking for? They had somehow travelled through time. Is it outside? Where the fuck is the thing I'm looking for? Oh, right, on the other side. There, okay. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's not put together terribly well, like this here. Oh no, there's lots of them. I thought that there were parts that linked up properly, and that there somehow were parts that weren't. But irritatingly, you can be on one side of this stupid fence that doesn't actually do much to keep people out if they've got flight powers, and if you pull a dude, he sometimes will just phase through the fence, even though you as a player can't. Anyway, let's go to this cave. Yeah, so this, I'm just going to assume that it was a Stegosaur dude, because I can't remember which one it was, and I'm just going to go with Stegosaur. First of all, the bones of dinosaurs that they display in museums are not made of bone. They're made of rock. Part of the process of fossilization, well, the whole process of fossilization, what happens is, over an enormous period of time, millions of years, minerals from the stone leach into the bones and replace the structure. So none of the material of bone that dinosaur skeletons are made out of is actual bone. It's all rock. Quite apart from the fact that museums only extremely rarely actually display any of those stone skeletons. It's almost all plaster reproduction, just for the sake of safety. Like, if something happened and those bones broke, those would be or were stolen for some reason. Because I think that might happen sometimes. Like, there are black market collectors who will just pay money to get stuff illegally, and one of the things that some of them will collect are dinosaur bones and fossils. So most actual dinosaur fossils are kept very, very carefully in storage. They're not out on display to help protect them against just random stuff happening. Criminal with a hard-on for giant femurs. Yeah, maybe. So, first of all, that stegosaur dude would not have been able to smell anything from those fossilized bones except for stone. And second of all, they probably weren't even fossilized bones in the first place. They were probably plaster reproduction bones. So, doubly stupid that this stegosaur character followed the scent of them because they smelled like his mum. Like, no, they didn't. They absolutely would not have done. We're just casually destroying evil spirits. Yeah, maybe his mum smells of plaster casting. Although quite why the first place that he went upon smelling it was quite why the first place in the whole city that he smelt plaster was a museum and not like the nearest building site where they were working with plaster. I don't know, but yeah, so that was just deeply stupid. Actually, no. I went on a really weird tangent. We're not talking about Jurassic Park, as it happens. I was complaining about a cartoon from the 90s. So, in the 90s, there was, in my opinion, a fairly cool cartoon called The Street Sharks, where four brothers get gene slammed with a genetic soup of sharks. So one of them got gene slammed with a great white, another a tiger shark, another a whale shark, and the last a hammerhead. And this show had a spin-off called Extreme Dinosaurs, which featured the main team called the Dino Vengers. And whilst I was outside fighting Teleoclone and Teleosaurs, I noted that some of the mechanical gubbins on the outside of the Teleosaur raptor looking things reminded me of the dinosaurs from the show, specifically the villains, because they had more of the like cybernetic stuff, and that got me talking about how one of the episodes of the Extreme Dinosaurs show had a plot point where one of the characters, I think it was a stegosaur, like an anthropomorphic stegosaur man, was following the scent of his mother around a city in modern day Chicago or New York or whatever the city was called, and it led him to a museum with a display of dinosaur fossils. And I was complaining about the fact that for a number of reasons that wouldn't make sense. I mean, I know that I'm talking about a show. Oh yeah, sharks are older than dinosaurs. So strictly speaking, the street sharks are already prehistoric, and are more so than any of the dinosaurs of the Dinavengers. But yeah. So it just occurred to me that what we're doing is ghost busting to ensure that the Canadian tourist industry is not affected, so that idiot tourists can wander through these ice caverns and not be bothered by dead spirits. I mean, I get it. It's not a problem that we're taking out ghosts and zombies. That is an issue that we probably don't want to leave unchecked. But the fact that we're doing it for the benefit of tourists kind of bugs me. There's just a branch floating in the air, casually. I wonder where I can land on it. Yes. Haha, I'm a witch. Yeah, so, I mean, it's a war beast, it's not a Teleoraptor. But this guy has a bunch of mechanical gubbins on him. And I was wondering whether they were helping to keep these reptilian Wrathraptors and other raptor form Teleo clones warm in the winter, because I don't think that the Teleoraptors on Monster Island have this electronic stuff on them. I could be wrong. I might be misremembering. Because, I mean, I was taking it on face value that the Teleoraptors are cold-blooded. They might not be. Just because they look like raptors doesn't mean that Teleios actually made them reptilian and cold-blooded when he was creating them from genetic material. Like, how would he have gone about creating raptor-looking monsters? The way that I would do it, if I had the technology, is because there isn't genetic material left over from... There isn't viable genetic material left over from dinosaurs anymore. Like, it just doesn't exist. It's too old. It's all decayed. So the way I would do it is by going through birds. Because birds are the descendants of dinosaurs. So perhaps all of his Teleoraptors and even the Teleosaur itself are bird clones, genetically adjusted bird clones. Probably most specifically chicken clones, because they're the ones that are closest to, well, okay, not raptors, but T-Rexes. So maybe the way that he's created his Teleoraptors and his Teleosaur is through cloning actual raptor birds, like eagles and hawks, and I think owls are technically raptors. So maybe all of this Teleoraptor is actually a giant hawk that's just had its DNA futzed with. Currently we are rescuing people. What exactly are we doing? I think it was tourists. I mean, maybe it's ravens, yeah. I don't know that you would go with ravens for raptors. They'd probably... I mean, if you want smart raptors, then yeah, go with ravens. Or, well, corvids at least. But if you want combat effective raptors, probably go with actual carnivorous hunting birds, not scavengers and opportunists. Although, having said that, I do wonder... Well, okay. If you want them to be survivable, you go with the smart ones, because they can adapt. But if you want combat morphs, combat creatures, specifically for just being dangerous, so that you can dick with people, probably go with the raptor descendants, like hawks and eagles. I think that was another doorway, or there was a doorway around here, and I think that it links up, so I won't have to go back on myself. So having said that, having theorized that perhaps Teleios used birds for his for the base of his Teleoraptors. Yeah, alright, there was the door. Not here. Anyway. Perhaps they're not cold-blooded after all. I mean, the fact that they are missing feathers because he's made them look like raptors, or made them look like the 90s depiction of raptors. I think by the early 2000s, paleontologists had already discovered that most dinosaurs, particularly of this form, actually had feathers, like the T-Rex. So, not even paleontologically correct raptors, just 90s populist ideas of what raptors look like. So, how's that for genetic perfection, Teleios? You idiot 90s fanboy. So yeah, okay, if the genetic components for the Teleoraptors and the Teleosaur come from modern birds, they probably are warm-blooded. I mean, the fact that they've got scales can't possibly be helping their warmth, but it does go some ways towards explaining why. Okay, so that guy just spat a kind of red and black gob of stuff at me, so they do have a ranged attack of some kind. It's not radioactive, and I don't know what it is. Aha, an exit. Fantastic. So, our you were in this, we're in this together, you're in it with me. Our spitballing here has come up with the idea that maybe... Oh yes, this is the mission that takes you up through his tower, so we won't do that today. Maybe the Teleosaurs and the Teleoraptors are warm-blooded and are therefore more capable of functioning in a snowy tundra environment than an actual reptile would be. Those hikers were certainly happy to see you. They couldn't stop talking about how impressed they were when you came in. Good work. Great job. We need more heroes like you. Tourists trapped. I just got an SOS over the radio. A vacationer by the name of Clayton Griswold. Ah, now, Clayton Griswold. That's a name. In the Resistance Adventure Pack, Clayton Griswold, or the Grizz, is a Resistance leader. He's actually super strong and tough and really cool. And I'm glad that I noticed when I was doing this mission yesterday with my main, because it means I can talk about it now. At some point, when I do the adventure packs, we'll meet the Grizz, and we can see the difference between him here and this universe's version of him and that universe's version of him. A vacationer by the name of Clayton Griswold called in, saying the campgrounds are overrun with monsters. I'm sure he's talking about those genetic monstrosities created by Teleios. You need to help Griswold. Technical issues. You hold the fate of the Canadian tourism industry in your hands. Interesting that Grizz represents the entirety of... hello, who's this? Rampaging Teleios. Descendants of the dreaded Teleios, a radioactive lizard created by the power-mad biogeneticist Teleios and then abandoned in the remote jungles of Monster Island. Watch out for this lethal lizard, whose radiation storms and nuclear breath can make a lasting and lethal impression. I'm gonna poke it with lightning. Ah, now this one does have radiation powers and some amount of cybernetic implants. You know, it occurred to me yesterday that we have models in the game for bipedal dinosaurs and quadrupedal battle monsters, or whatever they're called, and particularly the dinosaurs have a variety of different skin tones and patterns and details. Like the Teleoraptors on Monster Island don't have all this cybernetic stuff. So why didn't Cryptic make it possible for players to play as dinosaurs? I find that very disappointing. I wish that we could have had magic dinosaurs, or vampire dinosaurs, or ninja dinosaurs, or gun-wielding, dual-wielding pistol dinosaurs. They might be saving up costume parts so that you can turn yourself... Yeah, it's probably more to do with power emanation. Like, if you've got a humanoid shape, you can have powers come from the hands or the chest or the forehead fairly easily, no matter what the gender of the body. But if you've got a completely different skeletal system, I mean, you could have the elemental powers and the magic powers, the psychic powers, all the ones that don't require weapons would probably be fine. I mean, you would struggle to have a dinosaur with relatively short arms compared with human arms wielding swords. But in terms of costume parts, I mean, I was assuming that you wouldn't have the whole range of costume parts that are available to male and female bodies for raptors. You'd just have the things that are available at the moment for colours and for cybernetics. Yeah, so if it was quadrupedal, like the battle monsters, the Teleios battle monsters, yeah, it probably would need to be breath power based or like mental, like mind power based. Not that you would probably be able to tell the difference if you were zoomed out this far and facing away from the character. But like, I'm just saying that the models are in the game. They have attack animations. Even if you restrict the power sets that you could take with a raptor or a battle beast, I think it'd be really cool. Maybe maybe just like divertingly cool, like something you would try out for half an hour and then get bored of, but I would enjoy the possibility of having a character who's a dinosaur superhero. The game's already stupid enough, like it's already not taking itself seriously. Evil spirits, huh? I wonder what they wanted. Anyway, thank you for clearing out those caves. The spelunkers can get back to their spelunking now. Didn't he tell us that the caves contained ghosts when he sent us? A beating of the mines. Oh yeah, that'd be easy enough. We've put something together from the intelligence we've gathered. It looks like Teleios is making a deal to sell some of his cloned brains to Viper. We've got to stop that sale, or else it could jump Viper's psionic research ahead by decades. These guys have a lot of backup, though. Oh right, yes. I would have put not a comma, a dash there to indicate that this is supposed to be said together. Also, a lot without a space isn't a word. It's a lot, not a lot. Christ, what's it called? Oh, never mind. You're going to want to bring a superhero friend or two on this mission. Probably not. Yeah, there's a comic. There's a series of comics that I can't remember the name of. It's the one where so the image macro of do all the things, a weird little lumpy person holding a broom above their head, is it the Oatmeal? The Oatmeal have a comic about the Allot, which is a kind of huge beast. And there are elemental Allots, like a lot of fire or a lot of fog, and the Allot is better than you, a lot better than you at thinking or maths. One of the men you rescued was able to sabotage a batch of those cloned brains before they were put into Teleios' perfection of mind war machines, making them susceptible to being overridden. We've jury-rigged a device to take advantage of that. Use it on one of the unprogrammed cloned brains out in the wilds west of here, and then bring it back to me. A mind is a terrible thing debased. Teleios is preparing for a shipment of cloned brains to Viper. We already know that Viper has been trying to build psychic soldiers in their Project Awakening facility. I don't know that trying is correct. They have psychic soldiers. You can go and fight them in Project Awakening. We've dealt a severe blow to Viper recently, but getting a hold of those brains might give those creeps what they need to get back up and running. Oh, okay, well, fair enough. just because you can go there in-game and still find psychic dudes doesn't mean that the story isn't assuming. So I guess by this point the story of the game assumes that there are no more of the psychic adepts because we've beaten them all up and disabled Project Awakening's ability to create more. Find the shipment in the wilderness north of Teleios Tower and destroy it. Okay. After our convoy got snowed in, Teleios creatures attacked and made off with components to Steelhead Division's new anti-aircraft laser. It looked like they were heading for the northwest side of the peak with our crates. Bring those components back, technical issues. We can't risk that laser being assembled and put to use by our enemies. Okie dokie. And I've just noticed this captured intelligence. To all Teleo clones in the field, one of your most important duties will be to monitor the effectiveness of the latest batch of Teleosites. They should now attach to a subject with less traumatic damage, and the efficiency of their Teleo forming should be greatly improved, both of which should lead to higher survival rates among subjects. I'm still looking into the psychic resonance created by the transformation process, but for the moment consider it a beneficial side effect. Yeah, all of the Teleosites have psychic powers. For some reason, like that's their main mode of attack. Remember to have some patience with new brother clones created by this process. Unlike you, they weren't lab created with all the knowledge you receive. Until I add the RNA memory transfer organ to the Teleosite, the recently converted clones won't know a great deal about what they've become. There may even be a few memories of the life of the initial subject prior to the Teleo forming. These should fade in time, but don't forget to question them. The odd memory here or there could lead you to other potential test subjects nearby. So, all of the Teleosites, according to the game, used to be other people who have had all of their memories wiped by having the Teleosite biopod thing attached to them to rewire their personality. And like, he doesn't look like he's having a good time, does he? So cool, thanks for that, Teleios. Thanks for being completely horrible. I now need this to reprogram the unprogrammed clone brain. I don't know whether they'll attack on sight. I don't think so. I think they just kind of hang out here, wandering around, being confused, until someone makes it their friend. I don't know why they've got talk to unprogrammed clone brain, because you can't. Oh, he'll attack this guy though, I think. Yes, there we go. The Teleo clone, these cloned brains, the perfection of mind, are supposed to be psychic, like that's what the lightning is supposed to be, but it functions like electricity. Superpowers, not like any of the psychic powers that are actually in the game. Luckily they can fly, so I just have to fly over all of the mobs that are wandering around down there. Otherwise I would have to fight them all. Good work. Now we just need to find a mind reader and we can uncover all of Teleios' secrets. I'm not quite sure that it'd be that easy, but that is definitely a coup in fighting Teleios. I realise that this is a superhero universe, but every time I see one of these huge brains on its own, completely unconnected from anything else, like apparently these are supposed to be viable brains that Viper will use later for psychic experiments, but they're not hooked up to any life support whatsoever. They're just free floating without even the lower third section of the brain stuff, like the stuff that interfaces between the brain and the spinal cord. I don't think they're frozen, no, because they're moving in there. Ah yes, Special Teleios Preservation Fluid, TM, of course. Yeah, that must be it. Like, I mean, yes, I know, I realise that this is a superhero universe, and the rules don't necessarily apply, like the rules that you would ordinarily expect. But brains need basically a whole body's worth of organs and stuff to keep them running. Like, okay, sure, you probably don't need limbs on a body for the brain to keep functioning, and you don't need sensory organs like eyes and ears and other stuff like that, but you do need heart, lungs, basically all of the internal organs that humans have. Like, okay, probably in here somewhere is yes, the incredible preservative called handwavium. Probably inside here is enough mechanical gubbins, maybe, unless this orb is also supposed to be filled with Teleios magic brain support goo. Ah, here we are. No, that's not what I wanted you to target. I wanted you to target this. Oh yes, that was collecting components, wasn't it? That's easy enough. The boxes that contain the laser parts are these, which is very impressive that they've got the parts needed for a defensive laser contained within these relatively small boxes. That's probably like 2 foot by 2 foot square. And you only need 4 of them. This is the meeting. That we have now disrupted. And let's destroy their transport for good measure. Not that it actually does anything. No, there was a drop. Hand in over here. What was rude, Livy? Destroying the transport? Good work. We worked long and hard to stop Viper's Project Awakening facility, and we can't afford to let them get it up and running again. Can't afford to let them get it up and running again. Am I mistaken, or did you have some role in shutting down Viper's reprehensible operation? You are not mistaken. I did. I don't think that it was unnecessary to destroy the transport. It was Viper's transport. I think destroying any of their stuff is necessary. They're knobheads. Think Teleios will mind having his matter go missing? Nice work. I mean, yes, probably, but that's also the point. Thanks to you, we have all the anti-aircraft cannon components. Yep. If we are to keep the situation on Storson's Peak under control, we need to reduce the number of Teleios' creatures. Can you help us? You certainly look like you're tough enough to handle something like this. Defeat 10 of each group of Teleios creations. Yep, okay. With Sergeant Cronyon cut off, it's up to us to gather information and carry out the mission. Steelhead HQ needs to know just what Teleios has created out here. You can collect genetic samples from Teleios creatures. If you can collect genetic samples from Teleios creatures, it would help us greatly. Okie dokie. I've been so busy with the Teleios lately that I've decided to take a break and work on something more mammalian for a while. These new war beasts are the perfect thing. Vicious, predatory, but still capable of cooperation, and quite intelligent, even before I began to modify their brains. I think they'll work out quite well. Perhaps I should send a few raiding into local towns to see how well they'd work at retrieving specimens. Well, whatever I end up doing with them, I think they're quite a success. And who'd have thought you could get so much out of a squirrel DNA? Truly a testament to my genius. Okay, apparently the battle beasts are rodents. Apparently his Teleio clones, basically clones of himself, also count as Teleios creatures for the purposes of dropping DNA for the mission. I'm not quite sure what it is that the Teleoraptors are actually spitting at me. Like, it doesn't really look quite like any of the other attacks. Apparently, these are based on squirrels. I mean, I guess I could kind of get it, but what's up with the mouth? You can't really see on this knobhead because he's flinging his head around, but these are canine teeth. Or perhaps ursine? Oh, rodents. Like, rodents don't have big long canines like that. I don't think that rodents have molars either. I'll probably see a bit better on one of these. Yeah, see, that's a lot of sharp teeth. That's carnivore teeth, and there aren't any obligate carnivore rodents that I'm aware of. And again, this is canine behavior. Why in his personal notes would he make a note of the fact that he used squirrel DNA as the base when they're clearly much more in common with canines, not squirrels? Is he boasting? Say, haha, I can choose any creature on Earth and use its DNA to create a fantastic beast. Like, does he need to boost his own ego to that extent? Rudimentary. Yeah, very nice. I mean, I realise that this is a game and the makers of the game had to use something as the basis for like the build and the behaviour and the way that it looked. But they could have matched the two things up. Like, if they wanted the battle beasts to look and behave like it matched up with the thing that the text was telling us, like if they wanted it to, though, if they wanted the captured intelligence to say, yes, they're based on squirrels, they could have also matched up the way that they behaved and the way that the mouth was formed with squirrels. Like, you could very easily take a squirrel form and scale it up, give it bigger, sharper teeth, take away all the fur, particularly the fluffiness on the tail, and it would look pretty horrible. Alternatively, if you want to keep with the canine-looking monster that you've already got, just say that you based the DNA off of, I don't know, chihuahuas or something. If you want to make it seem like he's pulled something incredible from nothing, or practically nothing. How do you get stuck on a fir tree? Oh, hey, look. There's some floating boxes. Can I land on these? Yes. Just chill out on a box. I wonder if I can jump to the other one. No. Ugh. Oh no, can't be bothered. I'm not gonna waste time trying to jump onto a box that's bugged out and floating for no reason. Just revealed that I'm not good at platformers. What else counts as a Teleios monster? Do these guys count? Yes, okay. Well, I suppose it makes sense. The Teleios site is pretty monstrous. Right. There we go, Liffey. The transport respawns anyway, even if you destroy it. It was basically a pointless act. That might be enough to buy us some breathing room, but Teleios' genetic lab is always churning out some new monstrosity, and it's not going to end until we put a stop to him. These will be a great help in the battle against Teleios and his monstrous creations, assuming the scientist Steelhead can crack the genetic code, that is. I don't know... Alright, yeah, I'm going to talk to Clayton Griswold. I don't know how much help just sequencing the DNA would be. Like, unless there's some component of the technology available here that lets you visualize what a genetic cluster of information is actually supposed to look like on a body, which I suppose there might be. I mean, that's the kind of thing that a superhero universe would have, but just sequencing DNA on its own, what's the point in this? Not to mention that it's clipping through the pier. Like, just having the DNA samples and sequencing them wouldn't actually help you very much at all, I don't think, in working out like what exactly it is, because you need context, right? No, not that I'm a genetics expert or anything. I know basically nothing about sequencing genomes and genetic biology research. Thank goodness you're here. This was supposed to be the vacation of a lifetime. Then those things came out of nowhere and attacked. You know, when I booked this vacation on the internet, it might have been nice to know that the campground was built under the shadow of a crazed supervillain's lair. They sent somebody. I didn't think anyone was going to come. Hapless vacationer with a track record of disastrous experiences wherever he travels. Now that makes me wonder whether you can also meet Clayton Griswold in Monster Island and the Southwest Desert. I kind of hope that you can, that he's present in all those locations, indicating that he's supposed to have vacationed, you know, sequentially through them. I was going to rent a cabin near here, but when I went to check it out, I saw a bunch of those Hunter Patriot wackos around it. I overheard them say they're spying on the Teleios clones in the area and hope to steal some of their high-tech cloning stuff. I don't know, I'm not a scientist. Anyway, I thought you might want to get your hands on whatever information the Hunter Patriots have hidden away in that cabin. I do. Log cabin killers. A bunch of folks came to the vacation cabins at the foot of Strausson's Peak as a part of a package vacation we booked online. It never said anything about a mad super scientist kidnapping people for vile experiments. Now those creatures are hunting down my friends. Can you save them? Technical issues? Yes, I can. Teleios' freaky mutants just came out of nowhere, and they just keep coming and coming. Everywhere, everything from human clones to cyborg dinosaurs. Oh, they are supposed to be cyborgs. Okay. They're swarming over the west side of Strausson's Peak. You better thin their ranks, or soon there'll be an entire army of them. More than the Canadians will be able to handle. Okay, well, I'm just about done. I think I'll rescue these vacationers. And then I will call it a night, because it is 11 o'clock and that is the time I generally say that I'll stop. Steelhead just received a report that a group of scientists have been kidnapped by Viper forces. Working in conjunction with Until, Steelhead has discovered the caves where Viper is hiding with the scientists. You are asked to save the scientists and defeat the Viper kidnappers. Okie dokie. Okay, well, goodbye to the both of you. I hope you sleep well, Liffy, and thanks for coming along. See you again, hopefully. And I hope you, Digital Seahorse, have a good day. Did I just save everyone that needed saving? Remember. No, not quite. It's probably... There we go. One last one. Thought so. Okay. And... Ooh. Experiment notes. This latest batch of Teleios clones is already proving far more capable than the last batch. I've even been able to leave some key experiments in their care. However, I am concerned that they may have a bit too much of a sense of ego. True, they are based on my perfect pattern, so it is only natural that they have a strong sense of their perfected natures, but I made them to follow orders. They live and die by my command, and they should be satisfied with that. And I am starting to tire of their incessant complaining and egotistic comparisons among themselves. Still, it's unlikely that I made a mistake in their genetic engineering, so it may just be a phase in their social adaptation. More subtle evidence that perhaps he's not created perfect beings. Or he's not creating things quite as perfectly as he imagines. Anyway, that's it for today. Good night, everybody. I will be playing again on Friday. I'll post on various places before I go live. Thank you for coming along today, and I hope you all have a good time. Yeah, basically the plan is to keep going through streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday until I've done as many missions in the game as I can, possibly just solo missions. But if I can rope some people into doing group content, then I'll do the group missions as well. I'm kind of hoping that the stream, and when I put the stream up online on YouTube as VODs, will serve as like an intro to people. I think most of the fun of the game is coming up with your own superhero and your own power selection and applying that lens to the stories that the game is telling you. But I'm hoping that this series will be an intro to people. Maybe they'll wander through YouTube and it will happen to get recommended to them and they'll go, oh, this looks like fun, I'll give it a try. But yes, thanks for coming and see you again.